Greetings, everyone. Today is Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. I don't even know. Hold on, let me see what day. Yes, it's Tuesday. Okay. But what it really is the Libra new moon. And we had the new moon come in this morning at like 5:30 a.m. Came in on a Saturn hour, which is truly I see it as like a really great thing because Saturn is exalted in Libra. And so this energy Libra is about your relationships and really understanding how this reality works. I keep saying it over and over and over again. This reality is a projection of what's going on inside of us, especially for women. We are the subconscious rulers of this reality. We give birth to everyone. Our thoughts are connected to the divine. The reality that we're in is one that is made by women who are disconnected from themselves. We literally live in a world that is the way that it is because women are asleep. And I don't say that as a point of blame or fault. I say that as a fact. Because women are not aware and conscious of their creative power, the world is the way that it is right now. So whatever gets mirrored to us is a reflection of who we are with ourselves. And I'll add this to that. When I was a young woman, like in my 20s and 20s and 30s, like I really wanted someone to take care of me. But now looking back, I can see that I wanted a father. I didn't want somebody to control me or somebody to dominate me. I was wanting something that I had missed in my life, which was the masculine presence in a father. And that yearning caused me to leave my power on the table. It caused me to seek outside of myself. It caused me to believe that someone else had the answers to what was going on within me. Most women are living their lives that way now. We have all been convinced that the love that we desire is external. And because it's external, we don't have it within ourselves. So we are internally waiting. We are holding ourselves. We are doing things that hold ourselves to a certain standard of what the world says will get love. Like I remember when I used to think, if I get too powerful, a man will never want me. So I would dumb myself down. I wouldn't allow myself to dream. I wouldn't allow myself to really be what I was capable of being because I thought if I got too high, no man would be able to reach me. And finally, one day I had to say, are you going to just not be yourself because you want to be with a man? Like, what is that? But because I didn't believe in myself and I was sacrificing myself and creating these narratives, I always found myself in relationships that did the very thing that I didn't want to have occur. And so because I would do the very thing that I didn't want to have occur, my relationships they always left me yearning. There was always something I wasn't really getting. There was always a feeling of there's something more. And I would always think, then I would always start to tell the story like, well, he's this and he's that and he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. But that's because I was attempting to outsource my happiness, my well-being, my peace of mind. I was attempting to make someone else responsible for it. And the reason I was attempting to make someone else responsible for it is because I never had a father who showed me how to source that within myself. So the work that the father offers, I missed. So I was looking for it in someone else. So really, I was looking for a father. So this Libra new moon energy is an opportunity for us to begin to repattern our relationship with the other. And what I have done for myself is I have begun to love myself. So I'm not looking for love out there anymore. I've begun to accept myself so that I'm not looking for someone to accept me. So I'm not bending myself, trying to make myself be what others need in order for me to feel loved and safe. So when I come to an experience whole, when I come to an experience, knowing who I am and not looking for someone else to make me feel whole or make me feel safe, I got that myself, then a relationship becomes a completely different experience. The level of expectation changes, the opportunity to be free-spirited and lighthearted and grown, because they're not all of these unspoken desires that are rooted in trauma and rooted in, social standards and all of these sort of things. And so today, with this new moon in Libra, I invite you to look at your life, look at your relationships, your friendships, romantic relationships, but look at them from the lens of how you feel about those friendships and what you have done to participate in that. I was once in a relationship with somebody who I started making requests of them, and because I realized I never asked for anything. I never made a request. I never said, I need this, or I feel like this, or can you do? I never did that. And I never did that because I didn't want to occur as needy. Now, I can go into all the reasons of that, but that's really not the point. The point is me creating a relationship where I hadn't presenced my own needs. And so when I started asking for things, there was resistance. And I had to notice that. I was like, oh, I wonder why there's resistance. And I was like, oh, because you don't ask for things, so you're doing something new. And they have an expectation of you not needing anything. You've created this. This isn't them. This is your creation. Like I said, women are the rulers of the reality. We generate the reality. So if I set up a standard that I don't need anything, that I'm good, that I got my own, and then I turn around and change the rules, of course the other person is like, well, that's not what we've been doing. They didn't sign up for that. They signed up for what I was doing at first, So look at your relationships and see why they are the way they are. If you're calling somebody else's name, see, did you give them the permission to behave that way? Did you make that okay? And if you did, then look at the part of yourself that made that behavior acceptable. Look at the part of yourself that made space for that didn't honor yourself, that didn't recognize look at the part of yourself and get curious about that. And when you do the work on that, that will change your relationships. Now, that person may leave because they don't want to do that, and that's fine. They get to go, and if you don't want them to go, then you have to continue being who you were. You can't change the rules, So, I know when I was married, my son's father and I had an agreement. We had two agreements. He wanted a child, and I wanted to fulfill my purpose. That was our agreement. You get a child, and that was our agreement. And after I gave birth, our marriage fell apart. But I was like, no, I still get to keep my agreement. I still get to, you got what you wanted. I still get my agreement. And even though he left the relationship, I'm still doing the thing that I wanted to do. I don't need him to be here to do it. I'm still doing it. And he is taking care of our child because that is what our agreement was. We would have done it together, but because he left, which is fine, I just found a way to do it on my own. And I'm very devoted to my path. So look at your relationships and see how you created them the way they are, because you did it. And be loving with yourself. Be gentle. Get the lesson. I remember once I was changing the relationship on someone, and I was asking for something, and they were very resistant. And I said, well, I guess I would be resistant too if you were getting what you were getting for free. And now I'm saying you can't get it for free anymore. I would be resistant to you, to having to do it different. And they were resistant. So I just ended the relationship because I was like, all right, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I'm just not interested in that. And that was just that. But I had created that. I had given them the space to do what they were doing. So that's Libra energy. Libra is, what's your relationship showing you about yourself? What have you done to keep the peace? What have you done to create harmony at the cost of your own well-being? All right. Mercury retrograde shadow starts today. The Mercury retrograde workbook is ready. You can go to my link tree or my website, which is healwithmoonmama.com, and pick that up. In this moment, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for Mercury retrograde other than the workbook is there. Maybe I'll be talking about it. I have no idea. I'm just right now, I just don't. I just am like, I just don't, and I just don't want to. So, maybe in a few days I'll have clarity. We're in the shadow right now, and the Scorpio energy is coming in, and I feel like I need to go to sleep for a month. That's how I feel. Scorpio starts like tomorrow, and I literally feel like I need to sleep for a month. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know. There is an aspect of me that is resistant to asking for my needs because I haven't processed my childhood grief around having parents who couldn't show up for my needs. Absolutely. That's real. And that is a powerful thing to know. So, where you have, maybe you've been in relationships before where you're like thinking that the person isn't meeting your needs when it's really you that won't allow your needs to be met because you are still holding on to a narrative around your parents. Let me tell y'all, I love this stuff. Like, we are the best fucking puzzles. And when I get hold of somebody's natal chart and I get to see it and I'm like, ooh, look at this. This is so good. And then the work of healing it is challenging. I will not be flippant about that. It is humbling. It will bring you to your motherfucking knees. It will. But it is also glorious. It is also like so good to see, what's been, making your heart ache and what's been keeping you trapped and it's so good to see when you get that it's all you and nobody is really doing anything to you, that when you get in the driver's seat of your own reality and you get to see like, oh, I did that. Like, oh, I allowed that. Like, oh, I participated in that. I have been through some really hellish things with lovers, friends, and I've been through some great things with lovers and friends. I've had all of it. And I can take responsibility for every bit of it. I can take responsibility. I can see where I was in relationships just not wanting to seem like I was too much. So I just would play small. I've been in so many relationships where I've dumbed myself down because I just didn't think people got me or people cared about the things that I cared about because I wasn't willing to really take the risk and be different, So I just adhered to things, and then I would be all in relationships that were not really suited for me and, feeling trapped and obligated and really not feeling aligned to the people. I mean, just all sorts of stuff, right? Like, and also in relationships where they were really great for a season and then they changed. Like, I grew, but I didn't have anything else to do, or I didn't know what else, like just all manner of things. But knowing that that's all me, I did that. There's nothing wrong with them. They were who they were. They were perfect as they were. And, and it's okay for me to change. It's okay for me to outgrow things. It's okay for me to want to have a different experience. Nothing's wrong with that. Everything gets to exist. It's 8 billion people in this motherfucker. We get to change. I hope so. Especially since we're living through the most transformational time that humans alive have ever lived through, with Saturn and Neptune conjunct in Pisces and Aries. Like, we are transforming at the deepest levels. At the cellular level, we're changing. And we have to give ourselves permission to do that. And that stuff isn't easy to do when you're in like long relationships, because we want people to stay the same. We have been in relationships for reasons that were about comfort and not about growth and, all of that. And so because we're living through this profound time, people, the death rates are going to pick up, because if people don't want to do the work, then you die and you reincarnate and you come back again. And so, that's a fine choice too. That's not something we necessarily believe culturally, but it's what's true. So it doesn't matter if we believe it or not. It's what's true. And so now we have this opportunity where people are waking up and the work is available, and we have tools, and we have more greater self-awareness and consciousness, while we also have a lot of turmoil. Both are true, because there will always be that level of chaos somewhere. It might not be as great as it is now, but it will always exist. There will always be human conditions. We're not going to get away from that. But there can be a greater experience of people who are conscious on the planet, where that level of suffering isn't the overwhelming population of the planet. And that's what we're doing now. We're transforming from the inside out. So go pick up your workbook for the Mercury retrograde. Maybe I'm gonna not go to sleep for a month. I don't know. I'm so sleepy though. I'm like sleepy on the inside, like really like a deep sleepiness, like hibernation. Like I feel like a hibernation coming on. So we'll see. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. If you need any support, you can book your natal chart readings. I have a firm now, so if you want to do coaching packages, you can book a coaching package, pay for it. You can split the payments and things like that. If you guys are ready to do your work, I'm here. All right. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.